You are 22 years old and you need a car, not want, need. The job is 34 minutes away without traffic and an hour and 20 with it. And there is no train, no bus that gets you there before 9. No carpool that works with your schedule. You need a car the way you need a phone and a roof. It is not optional. It is infrastructure. You have $4,500 saved. It took you 11 months. You have a credit score of 664, which is not bad for 22, but is not good enough to make lenders generous. You have done some research, which means you have watched videos that contradicted each other and read articles that were written to sell you something. You are more confused than when you started. You know two things for certain. You need a car and you cannot afford to make the wrong decision. There are two doors in front of you. Behind the first one is a lease, lower monthly payments, a new car every 3 years, the dealership experience that feels for an afternoon like you have arrived somewhere, a contract with terms you will spend the next 36 months living inside of whether you read them carefully or not. Behind the second one is a purchase, a loan. A car that will be yours eventually after 60 or 72 months of payments, after the interest has taken its cut, after the depreciation has done what depreciation always does. A car with your name on the title and all the freedom and all the responsibility that comes with that. You can only walk through one door. The door you choose does not just determine your transportation. It determines your cash flow, your flexibility, your relationship with debt, and quietly over time your net worth. This is not a review of cars. This is a comparison of decisions and what those decisions cost you across a decade. Door 1. You sign the lease. The monthly payment is $279. You could not believe it when the finance manager slid the paper across the desk. $279 a month for a brand new car. You have seen the sticker price. You know the car cost $28,400. The math does not fully make sense to you yet, but the number feels manageable, and manageable is what you need right now. You drive off the lot. The car smells like something that has never been used. The infotainment screen is responsive. The seats are clean in a way that your last car, a 2009 Civic you shared with your older brother, never was. You merge onto the highway, and for approximately 45 minutes you feel like the decision was obviously correct. Then you get home and read the contract. 15,000 miles per year, that is your allowance. If you go over, you pay 25 cents per mile at the end of the term. You drive to work and back 5 days a week. You visit your parents on weekends. You take one road trip a year. You do the math at the kitchen table with your phone calculator, and you land somewhere between 14,200 and 16,800 miles annually, depending on the year. You are already in the gray zone, and you have not driven the car for a full day yet. There is a $3,500 due at signing that you negotiated down from $4,200. Your savings account, which had $4,500 in it this morning, now has $847. You have a new car and $847 to your name, and a job that pays $41,000 a year before tax. You feel the thinness of it. You tell yourself it will be fine. You are probably right. You are also probably going to find out what a fine actually costs. This is what leasing teaches you in the first 6 months that nothing else can. You are renting. That is the word that applies here, even though nobody at the dealership used it. You are paying for the right to use an asset that you will never own, that depreciates on someone else's schedule, and that must be returned in a condition the contract defines with language that is precise and not in your favor. You get a small scratch on the rear bumper in a parking lot in March. You do not know who did it. You file it away as something to deal with later. Later, in this context, means the day you return the car, when a lease inspector will walk around the vehicle with a trained eye and a clipboard, and a definition of normal wear and tear that is narrower than yours. The scratch will cost you $340. You will not know this for 28 more months, but the cost already exists. It is already owed. You just have not paid it yet. This is one of the structural realities of leasing that feels abstract until it becomes concrete. The liabilities are deferred. The monthly payment is visible, low, and manageable. The total cost is distributed across the contract, the return process, the overage fees, the disposition fee, and sometimes the gap between what you expected and what the inspector decides. You do not see the full number until the end. By then, you have already lived inside it. By month 18, you have settled into the rhythm of the payment. $279 leaves your account on the 7th of every month with the reliability of a utility bill. You do not think about the car financially, you think about it logistically. You schedule the oil changes the dealership sends reminders for. You wash it more than you would wash a car you owned. You are, without fully realizing it, maintaining someone else's asset with your own time and attention. Your friend at work bought a used Honda Accord the same month you leased. He paid $19,500. He put $3,000 down and financed the rest at 6.9% over 60 months. His payment is $326 a month, which is $47 more than yours. You have pointed this out to him twice in casual conversation. He has not seemed particularly troubled by it. What you have not pointed out, because you have not fully calculated it yet, is that Marcus will own the car in 36 more months. At that point, his payment stops. Yours does not. Yours transitions into a new lease on a new car with a new down payment and a new 36-month commitment. The $279 does not end. It renews. This is the mechanism of leasing that the monthly payment obscures. You are not paying down anything. You are servicing access that expires and then must be repurchased. You are 25, your lease is up in 60 days, the dealership calls you 4 times in 1 week. They are very interested in getting you into your next vehicle. They have a new model with updated safety features. The payment would be $299 a month. They can roll your remaining balance into the new contract. You are beginning to understand what the remaining balance means in this context, and you do not like what you understand. You return the car. The inspection reveals $340 in charges for the scratch, $180 for a small interior stain you had forgotten about, and a $395 disposition fee for not leasing again from the same manufacturer. The total end-of-lease cost is $915. Your effective monthly cost for the lease, when you divide the total outlay including the signing costs and the end fees across 36 months, was not $279. It was closer to $389. The gap between those two numbers is where the real cost of leasing lies. You are not ruined, you are not even particularly behind, but you are starting again from close to zero. You have no assets, you have no equity, you have 36 months of reliable transportation and a credit history that shows consistent payments, which is worth something, but you have nothing you can point to, nothing with your name on it, nothing that can be sold, traded, or kept. Door 2, you buy the car. You do not go to the new car dealership. You cannot afford to. With $4,500 saved and a credit score of 664 and a $41,000 salary, you are looking at the used car market, which is a different experience entirely. There is no showroom smell. There is no finance manager offering water. There is a private seller in a suburb 40 minutes away who has a 2018 Toyota Camry with 44,000 miles on it for $17,900. You have a mechanic look at it first. It costs $120 and takes 3 days to schedule, and the mechanic finds nothing serious. You negotiate the price to $17,200. You put $4,000 down and finance $13,200 at 7.4% over 48 months. Your monthly payment is $319. That is $40 more per month than the lease. You feel this difference more than you expected to. The car is 2 years older than the leased car. The seats have history in them. The infotainment system is a generation behind. The drive home does not feel like an arrival. It feels like a practical decision made by a person who is thinking past the afternoon. In the first year, you spend $780 on maintenance that the leased car would not have required. New tires in November because the existing ones were at the limit. A brake job in the spring. An oil change every 5,000 miles that you do yourself after watching 3 YouTube videos because the dealership charges $89 and the parts cost $22. You learn things about this car that you would never learn about a leased one, because a leased car's problems are not fully your problems. This car's problems are entirely yours, and that accountability changes how you pay attention. You cross 60,000 miles, then 70,000, then 80,000. The car does not care. Toyotas built in this era are engineered to run past 200,000 miles with consistent maintenance, and consistent maintenance is what you are giving it, because the alternative is a repair bill that ruins your month. You have become, without planning to, someone who understands their vehicle, who knows the sounds it makes and what they mean, who has an opinion about synthetic versus conventional oil. This knowledge has a value that does not show up in any financial calculation, but is real. You are 25. Marcus is now 3 years into his Accord. He has 24 months of payments left. You have 12. Your friend who leased is sitting across from a finance manager discussing a new 3-year commitment. You make your last payment in October. You are 26 years old and you own a car. The title arrives in the mail in a plain envelope, and it is one of the more significant pieces of paper you will hold this year, even though it does not look like much. Your name is on it. The bank's name is no longer on it. The car is yours. Starting in November, you have $319 a month. That was going to a lender and is now going nowhere. You redirect it. $200 to savings, $119 absorbs into the budget. Within 6 months, the savings redirect has added $1,200 to your account. Within a year, it has added $2,400. The car is no longer costing you. It is creating space. Here is what your life looks like at 27 on the buying path. The car has 91,000 miles on it. It is not glamorous. The paint has a small chip on the hood from a highway rock. The interior is clean because you clean it, but it shows its age. Nobody comments on the car. Nobody is supposed to. It is transportation. It does its job without requiring you to perform ownership for an audience. Your total transportation cost over the 2 years since the last payment has been maintenance only. Tires once. Routine service. A serpentine belt at 88,000 miles that costs $210 parts and labor. Total maintenance outlay in 2 years of free and clear ownership. Approximately $1,100. Averaged monthly is $45. You are driving a paid-off car for $45 a month in real costs. That number is not available to anyone in a lease. What you have sacrificed for this number is newness, technology, the quiet confidence of knowing the car is under warranty. You have made a trade and the trade was conscious and it is holding up. But it is a trade. Not everyone can make it comfortably, and the discomfort is real even when the math is correct. Where the gap begins, the real cost over a decade. You are 32. 10 years have passed since you needed a car at 22. Here is what the decade actually cost each path. The lease path executed typically looks like this. 3 lease cycles across 10 years. Each cycle has signing costs averaging $3,200, monthly payments averaging $295, and end-of-lease fees averaging $700. Total outlay across the decade, approximately $39,300 in payments and fees alone, not counting insurance differences or mileage penalties. At the end of 10 years, you own nothing. Your transportation cost was a flat and continuous expense that produced no asset and no equity. What it produced was access, reliability, and the experience of always driving something current. The buy path executed on a used car looks like this. One initial purchase with a 48-month loan. Total paid in principal and interest, approximately $15,800. Maintenance over 10 years on a reliable vehicle driven to 160,000 miles, approximately $8,400, including 2 sets of tires, brake jobs, routine service, and 2 moderate repairs. Total outlay across the decade, approximately $24,200. At the end of 10 years, you either still own the car or you sold it. If you sold a well-maintained Camry at 160,000 miles, you received somewhere between $4,000 and $6,500, depending on market conditions. Net cost after proceeds, approximately $18,000 to $20,200. The gap across 10 years is somewhere between $17,000 and $21,000 in favor of buying. That number, invested at 8% annually beginning at 22, becomes $36,000 to $45,000 by 32. This is the compounding cost of the lease that never appears on the monthly payment. But the last person had 10 years of new cars, 10 years without a repair bill that derailed a month, 10 years of knowing the vehicle was covered, 10 years of driving something that matched their professional growth, their identity, their sense of where they were going. These things have value. They do not have a price tag. Assigning them 0 because they are not quantifiable is a mistake the pure math argument always makes. What nobody tells you about each path. What nobody tells you about leasing is that it is a perfect product for the person it is designed for, and a poor product for almost everyone else. The person it is designed for drives a consistent number of miles, values their time over their money, treats transportation as a business expense, or operates in an environment where arriving in something current is professionally relevant. If that is you, the lease is not a trap. It is a tool that is priced for what it delivers. For everyone else, which is most people in their 20s, on regular salaries with variable lives and ambitious financial goals, the lease is a subscription to something you could own. And subscriptions to things you could own have a compounding cost that monthly payments are specifically designed to obscure. What nobody tells you about buying, especially buying used, is that the financial advantage only materializes if you hold. The math works over time. It does not work if you sell at 40,000 miles because you want something newer. It does not work if you trade in during the loan and roll negative equity into the next purchase, which is one of the most common and quietly devastating financial moves people make in their 20s. Rolling negative equity is borrowing money at interest to pay for something you no longer own. It is a structural problem that looks like a simple transaction and compounds in the wrong direction. The buy path also requires a tolerance for uncertainty that the lease path removes by design. When the leased car makes a noise, it is the dealership's problem. When your car makes a noise, it is your problem, and it will be your problem at a time of the car's choosing, not yours. The reliability of a newer leased vehicle is real. The cost of that reliability is built into every payment you make. The real question. You have been reading this as a question about cars. It is not, or it is not only that. It is a question about what you are optimizing for and whether those things are in the right order. The person who leases is optimizing for predictability and presentation. Their transportation cost is fixed, their vehicle is current, their exposure to mechanical risk is low. They pay more over time for these things. And more over time is the correct framing because the monthly payment hides the total. The person who buys used is optimizing for ownership and accumulation. They accept uncertainty, older technology, and the possibility of a bad month in exchange for an asset, a paid-off future, and cash flow that eventually frees up. They pay less over time for these things, and less over time only holds if they have the discipline to hold the car and redirect the savings. Both optimizations are legitimate. Neither is universally correct. The mistake is not choosing the wrong one. The mistake is choosing without understanding what you are actually choosing. Because the monthly payment is not the cost. The monthly payment is the number the dealership designed to get you to say yes. The cost is everything that flows from that yes across the years it takes to understand what you agreed to. You are still 22. You still have $4,500. You are still sitting at the fork. Here is what the evidence says without opinion. If your life is stable, your mileage is predictable, your income is growing, and the freedom to walk away from a car every 3 years has genuine value to your situation, leasing is not the financial disaster it is often framed as. It is an expensive form of flexibility. Some people need that flexibility badly enough that the premium is worth it. If your life is variable, your goals are long-term, your income is building but not there yet, and you have the patience to hold an asset through its uglier years, buying used is almost always the stronger financial decision across a decade. Not because the car is better, because what happens after the loan is paid off changes the shape of your monthly cash flow in a way that compounds forward. The car is not the point. The car gets you to work. The car enables the income. The car is infrastructure. And infrastructure decisions are not about how the infrastructure makes you feel in the first 45 minutes. They are about what the infrastructure costs you over the years you depend on it. Both doors lead to a car. Only one of them leads to ownership. You already know what you can sustain. Walk through that door. The payment starts either way, and make sure you know what you are paying for.